Alright, so I thought I'd throw in some bonus content here now that we're talking about TVs running off your inverter. One of the things you want to have is something like this. This is the ALI monitor, A-I-L-I. There's a couple different companies that have them. This one here is really nice for the price. I think it's like $40. And I bought the 350 amp shunt. So they offer it in a couple different shunts. Definitely get the 350 even if you don't think you need it. It's got longer cables, much beefier on the shunt, easier to hook your wires to and all of that. The 150 amp shunt, we got one of those and I don't know, it was pretty small. I wasn't really happy with it. So the 350 for $5 more or whatever, definitely worth it. So simple monitor here. This is going to tell you your current voltage in your batteries. That's the first button. Also, you have a graphical display at the top, tell you how much you got in there. Up and down arrow tells you whether you're pulling power or pushing power in. Your center button tells you how many amps you're pulling right now. And then if you hit that button again, you get to see how many amp hours are remaining in your battery bank. And you set the size of your battery bank when you set this thing up. So I've got 225 amp hours of battery in here. Two typical 6 volt with a GC2 interstate type of batteries. And then your percentage meter, you hit this button over here, I got 97.1% remaining. So and you've heard the story, hey, don't run these things down 50%. For 6 volt deep cycles they'll say 80%. So I've played around with this amp hour setting, and for a long time I had it set at 100 amp hours, and I did that so that when this percentage hits 0 or my meter hits 0, that's when I should stop using power. I still have power left, but I should stop and recharge. That way I can protect my batteries. Recently I just went back to the full 220 just because I was curious if it changed the calculations or anything, and so far I don't think it does. All right, so the bonus content, what I really want to talk about. Right now I have nothing on in this coach except the inverter and the Wally. So with just those two things on, I am pulling 3.3 amps. And the reason I'm mentioning this is when you're boondocking, a lot of times, you know, you're watching TV, you turn the TV off, you go to bed, you just think no big deal. But you got to realize you're pulling 3.3 amps, basically doing nothing. So if you sleep 10 hours, you're camping, right? You should sleep 10 hours. You're going to pull 30 amps or 33 amp hours of power out of your battery. So you really don't want to waste that kind of energy. So before you go to bed, come over here, hit this button, shut the inverter off. The only downside is next time you start it up, the Wally's got to reset, and that takes 10 minutes or whatever, but it will save you a lot of power. Next, what we want to talk about is your TVs. So what I'm going to do here is this coach has got 3 TVs on the inside and 1 TV on the outside. And they're all nice Sony TVs, so very happy with them. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn this one on. I think this is a 32-inch Sony Bravia TV. And we'll see how much power this thing takes just to turn that on. If you remember, we were at 3.3 amps. It's starting up now. As soon as the screen comes on, we'll see where it's at. It takes about 15-20 seconds to turn on. Okay, TV turned on. It's settling in at just under 7 amps. So it's taking about 4 amps to run that TV. But I can highly impact the amount of power by changing some of the settings on the TV. So if you come here to your remote and you get in here to your home button, you come down to settings, and you come in here to picture mode. Now right now I'm in the custom, so I'm going to go to the worst picture mode as far as power goes, but you can see visibly how much brighter that TV got. All right, so if I go to vivid and I come down here, look at that power usage. 11.5 amps. Okay, I'm going to keep it on the meter here as I go down from vivid down to what their standard setting is. All right, I just clicked it. Look at it drop. It dropped almost 2 amps off of that. Now if I come down to my custom setting, that's where I get back down here into the just over 7 amps. So, you know, that's like 4 amps of power between the highest setting and my custom setting. And really what you want to do is you want to come in here and you want to go into custom, especially when you're boondocking. When you're not boondocking, throw it on Vivid, you know, whatever makes you happy. But really the main things are backlight. Get rid of the backlight. Like I'll turn the backlight on, you can see it really brightens it up, but it takes a ton of power for that backlight. So drop the backlight and instead come down here into your brightness and play around with that a little bit. I found just setting it around 50% really brightens up the screen a lot, but it doesn't take much power. So and then the other things, you know, turn your noise reduction off, your MPEG noise reduction, all of that stuff, you know, if you want to conserve some power. And then finally, really another setting, if you don't want to play with all that, is they got a power saving mode down here. So if you come in here, I'll also turn this to high. And I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to get a picture. Especially here, you'll see it. That's going to high, this is going to off. So it also darkens it a little bit. So with power saving high, custom, look where I'm at now, 5.8. So this is very viewable, you know, in a dark coach, just watching TV, you know, maybe a light or two on. It's fine, it's enough light, I can see everything. And instead of pulling 11.7 amps, I can get down to 5.7 amps, right? I say 6 amps. I have enough to actually run a second TV. So I could turn on my mid living room TV, do the same settings there, and I could have 2 TVs on for what it was going to cost me to run 1. So I wanted to point that out. If you're really going to be boondocking, want to conserve power, you absolutely have to have a meter like this. There's different ones on the market, something that'll tell you how much power you're pulling, and then you're going to want to go and play with your power settings on your devices, because you can make a huge impact on how long you're going to be able to run off a battery. So hopefully that helped, and like and subscribe. That's how I get paid for these videos. It's just your kudos and your appreciation for these type of videos, and I will see you on the next.